A bit of feedback I got from a new viewer said that while they liked most of what they saw, they didn't get certain aspects of Did I Get What I Paid For? And now that I think about it, I can see why. Between the story segments and all the running gags, there can be kind of a hindrance to new viewers. Since I owe a few back videos to keep us on schedule, I guess I could do sort of a Did I Get What I Paid For 101 for viewers new and old. And if I keep them short, I can shoot 2 or 3 of these in a week. But let's make it fun. Let's do an ABCs format. But I'm indecisive, so in order to get this list of things I wanted to cover down to something manageable, I had to give some letters more than one entry. So for today's lesson, we're going to do A through C.
A. Abbott and Costello. Who's on Abbott?
These guys were old school comedians. They got their start as a team in 1935. They popularized the famous Who's On First routine, which people have been trying to replicate to varying degrees of success for 90 years. They got their big break on the radio 2 years later. After that, their careers exploded. They got a very lucrative movie contract. They produced 30 films over the next 15 years. 4 of those movies came out in 1941 alone. That's a Marvel level production schedule. This was while their radio show was still ongoing. That didn't end until 1950 when they joined the cast of TV's Colgate Comedy Hour. In spite of being rehashes of their live shows and radio material, their segments were so popular that they were awarded their own spin-off the next year. A lot of their movies still hold up. Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein was voted 56th on the American Film Institute's Top 100 Funniest Films of All Time list. In 2001, it was added to the National Film Registry with the Library of Congress, a program designed to preserve movies that are deemed important to popular culture. I'm rather fond of some of the sequels, especially Abbott and Costello Meet the Mummy and Abbott and Costello Meet the Invisible Man. I bet you're thinking to yourself, if these guys were so funny, why is there material on your show? All I can say is go watch Jack and the Beanstalk 1952 and see for yourself. Unless you're not a masochist, in which case just go watch my review. You won't be missing much. Fun fact, Abbott and Costello Meet the Killer Boris Karloff has an erroneous title. The producers in Abbott and Costello didn't want anyone else's name on the poster but the guys. To keep the villain a secret. One problem. They wanted a name actor. In 1949, nobody had the charisma, the horrific look, and the deadpan comedic sensibility to pull that kind of villain off quite like Boris Karloff. And he knew it. He demanded his name be on the poster in the same font and the same size as Abbott and Costello's. Plus, there was a typesetting error. The poster was supposed to read Abbott and Costello Meet the Killer, featuring Boris Karloff. Speaking of Boris Karloff,
A ape, but it should be an ape.
I reviewed this movie in 2019. It was the finale for season 0. It's probably my favorite episode of that year because it set the standards for what the show would become. It really started the idea that the basement was going to be a more or less consistent home base for the show. It had our first story and sketch segments, but my memory on that is a little fuzzy. Plus, it continued a running gag about how, if I'm reviewing something public domain, more often than not, it's gonna have a primate in it. I found out while reviewing it that it was an adaptation of a stage play. Not only that, it wasn't even the first time this play had been adapted into a movie. It was originally a film called House of Mystery. And no, it wasn't an adaptation of the DC Comics anthology series of the same name, which is an awesome name, so when the trademark lapsed, no one could stop DC from using it. Boris Karloff did the ape because in 1935, Universal thought it was done with monster stuff. So he had trouble finding work because he had gotten himself typecast as a horror guy. He wasn't the first or last actor to have that problem, so he, look, I would love to say this had a happy ending, and that he went on to make a string of critical darlings that were also financially successful, but no. He made more monster movies and gangster flicks for a lot less money than he was getting at Universal. Fun fact, I take some solace in the fact that Boris Karloff liked the ape about as much as I did.
B is for bullshit. No, it's alright. Bela Lugosi meets a Brooklyn gorilla.
What you get when you take a pair of Martin and Lewis impersonators, the actual Bela Lugosi, and the chimp from a bunch of Tarzan movies, and put them in the same film. An incoherent, incomprehensible mess. The story of why this movie is not that well known and the various lawsuits involved in its release are a lot more interesting and comical than the movie itself. Bela Lugosi Meets a Brooklyn Gorilla has a rare distinction in the history of Did I Get What I Paid For? It was the first movie I reviewed, Season 0, Episode 1, and the only episode I had to shoot, and reshoot, and reshoot, due to camera troubles. Why is this entry so short? Well, it was going to be about 6 or 7 pages long, but I moved, not cut, moved a bunch of that material to later entries in this series. Fun fact, Jerry Lewis threatened to sue Jack Broder Productions for making a bootleg Martin and Lewis movie starring Duke Mitchell and Sammy Petrillo. He was afraid it would dilute his brand. However, years earlier, when Martin and Lewis were doing a TV appearance, they needed an actor to play Jerry Lewis's oversized baby. Can you guess who they hired? That's right, Sammy fucking Petrillo.
C equals Captain America.
I don't think one of the first American patriotic superheroes, linchpin of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, needs any sort of introduction. First appearing in comics in 1941, this co-creation of Joe Simon and Jack Kirby was the original social justice warrior. In a word, he's awesome. In the summer of 2020, I reviewed the first Captain America TV movie from 1979. My 3 or 4 regular viewers loved that episode. So in 2021, Ralph forced me to review Captain America 2 Death Too Soon. Then Nick and Ralph decided that I'm going to be reviewing something Captain America related every July until the day I die. If I run out of movies, I'll read a comic book or something. Fun fact, there were only 2 of these Captain America TV movies, but had the ratings been even 0.2 of a point higher, CBS was considering doing 2 more. The first of which was going to be Captain America versus the Incredible Hulk, which would have starred Red Brown, Bill Bixby, and Lou Ferrigno. The other was Captain America versus Spider-Man, which would have starred Red Brown and Nicholas Hammond. Yeah, we almost got the Marvel Cinematic Universe in 1980.
C is for chimps.
I don't just mean chimps, it's shorthand for how about 50% of the public domain stuff I feature has a chimp, a gorilla, an ape, or a monkey in it, usually for some nonsensical reason. It started with our first episode, Bela Lugosi meets a Brooklyn gorilla. Dick Tracy meets Gruesome had a guy in a gorilla suit. And Boris Karloff. Karloff is no stranger to this rule because, as I said, he was in The Ape. And that episode was a triple feature. One of the other things I reviewed was a collection of old commercials. Since some of those ads went back to the 50s, 60s, and 70s, yeah, they had monkeys, gorillas, and chimps in them. I reviewed some Fleischer Brothers Superman, and yeah, there was a monkey in it. I reviewed an episode of Space Angel, and there was a chimp. If you believe Nick, primates followed me out of the public domain, because I apparently reviewed Quantum Leap, the complete series. Yeah, like I'd ever do that. But in one episode, called The Leap Home Part 1, Sam's brother dresses up in a gorilla costume. And in the episode The Wrong Stuff, Sam leaps into a chimp. Fun fact, based on the way I react to chimps, monkeys, and gorillas in movies, you'd think I don't like them. You'd be wrong. Every time I go to the zoo, well, once you get me into the primate house, good luck getting me back out again. If you liked this video, please hit like and subscribe. To help this channel really grow, visit patreon.com/parodyerrorfilms and become a patron today.